3 times to the market. 3 times. It's like some kind of spell. Run round the churchyard 3 times with a chicken on your back and all your wishes will come true. Only it isn't, and they didn't. No, I was looking for Tyler because I wanted him to move his car from the end of my drive. I went round about 8:30, thinking it wasn't too unreasonable an hour. His mum said he'd already set off for work, but he was walking because he's on a new Get Fit regime. So I went down. No sign of him on the battery stall. They said he'd been sent for butties and would be back in about half an hour because he had to wait for the bacon to crisp properly or his boss would send him back again otherwise. So I went for a walk around town. I ended up chatting to Miss Holwell about her chihuahua. It's a teacup one apparently, and she'd lost it somewhere in the kitchen cupboards. But she hadn't got time to look for it before she came out because she wanted to get here in time for the fresh pies. Well, I knew where she was coming from. By the time I got to the pie stall, there was a queue the length of the River Calder. An hour late, I got back to the battery stall. No sign of Tyler. Apparently he'd gone to the lockup for more C3s, but he was calling in at the dentist on the way back to pick up their trolley, which they'd lent them to deal with a patient who was having a filling trauma. I didn't ask for details because I didn't particularly want to know. There are some things that you don't need to know the ins and outs of. They told me to try again after lunch. So I went back up home. I tried bumping against Tyler's bonnet on the way past, just in case he'd left the handbrake off. I knew it was a long shot because if he had, he'd be halfway to the main road with the slope on our street. I put something on the bruise when I got inside. Then I had pie and beans for lunch and went back down. He was there. Not a bit apologetic, I might add. Why is it that some people think you can squeeze out of your drive if they leave you 4'6" when there's a council van parked opposite? Even with full lock-on I couldn't have managed it, considering the other side's 4x4. Anyway, apparently his keys were in his fleece pocket and his mum should have known about it all the time. So back I walk up home thinking at least I've walked the pie off. By the time I got there I didn't feel like going for a drive anymore.